hero, he's a criminal. Shut up!
Hello, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teague coming to you in glorious split screen in case you enjoy the vertical feed and a little experiment here. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3, Almost a Home, review show for Landman. First thing I guess I'll say is maybe I didn't go far enough last week in understanding just how the Ainsley and Angela at the old folks' home violent but hilarious comedic moment played for most of the audience. For most of this week, in Reddit, in different spaces on the internet, on X, a lot of people just had a lot of memes about how they nope out of the show as soon as they see Ainsley or Angela and that they find them horrible. Now, I always knew that these were horrible people, and I've always said that this was a show about terrible people. So before we get into this week's show, I'll let my co-hosts weigh in on this one. I don't think that Ainsley nor Angela are any worse than any of the men we see on the show, and that there is no morally superior male character to put them to shame. They are simply, because they are comic relief, I think someone, was it Germs, or it was Crimlon, said, they're just pushing it too hard, trying too hard, the foot's a little bit too hard against the floor, and maybe it's not working out as funny as it could be if they were a little more subtle about it. Last week, they may have gone way too far. So let's go with Radioactive, and we'll work our way up the totem pole. Radioactive, last week you were much more opinionated about the old folks home scene and then beating down the Texas state inspectors, because I think you thought that perhaps we'd been piling on for a long time. Tell me what you thought about how they're using Ainsley and Angela, as well as Rebecca, and do you think the show has a problem with like bad female characters?
Well, I think they have bad subplots. That's the problem. It's not so much the characters; they're just not leveraging the characters they develop. I think in a way that maximizes their impact on the show. I was thinking about that today because I was thinking, wow, we're going to get another senior living party scene. I'm thinking, geez, how many times do we have to see them partying with the seniors on the show? I mean, they started out season 2 with maybe something going on in Ainsley's collegiate life, but so far we haven't seen anything there, and that could be a funny track. And yes, I do think that I think Crimlon brought this up originally, that they're like Dumb and Dumber or Laurel and Hardy or something. They were going. It looked like they were going with a comic relief moment. As far as Rebecca's concerned, I don't know. We'll see where they go with her character. She hasn't had that much screen time this season yet.
She wasn't as harsh this week as she's been in previous weeks, but this week she's like kind of in a place where she should be as far as what she's doing. She's helping out and doing like a little bit of deferential cooperation with Nathan, rather, who knows what he's doing, because we're doing a different kind of lawyering. She does screaming, yelling, bust your balls lawyering, and he does like careful reading of the letter of the law, contract law lawyering. So they're cooperating a lot better than we thought they would. But this week they seem to be more or less in harmony, and she's not as much of an asshole, and she gets along very well with Angela this week, which is weird. She has like kind of a couple of moments on the phone with Angela where they're almost understanding each other. So I guess we'll move up to Germ. Germ, does this show have a problem with his female characters?
I don't think so. They're filling the roles they're supposed to. They may or may not get an expanded story. I can see Angela getting something more serious, but they're fitting in just right. I was in no way offended by the old folks' home. I am 100% for assaulting bureaucrats. And they're fitting in right where they need to be.
Are you talking about when the lawyer sort of gets his?
When that guy tried to make Angie sit down.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, okay. I thought last week. Yes. All right. I'm sorry. I thought you were alluding to things that happened this week. Okay, so it doesn't really have a woman problem. And the other question would be: is there some male character who puts these people to shame with their chivalry? Maybe only Dale. Dale is among like the 3 good people in this show. Dale's a good person. Nathan's a fairly good person, and then it's Slim Pickens. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, there's the ones that are good guys, and well, we don't really need too many good guys in this story.
We really don't. There's only so much room for good people. All right, so let me move on up to Crimlon. Crimlon, you seem to have hit on it better than anyone else when you called out last week's episode, because you actually had the exact problem that we got hit with. You nailed it. So go ahead. Does this show have a problem with toxic female characters, or do you have another possibility?
I wouldn't say
No,
toxic
the
female
point.
characters, as it almost feels like, especially with this episode, they're trying to push too hard on them. I don't think they're developing them properly. Yeah, if you go through the entire episode, as soon as we will, you'll see what I'm talking about. Those 2 scenes that you referred to a few seconds ago. They're trying
cringe.
they're trying to overly push them as being strong. And I'm sure you guys have all seen it, so you know exactly which scene they're referring to. I mean, it is kind of funny at the same time as I think with last week's episode, and now it's kind of increasing to this. I almost feel like they're doing it too much, and I don't know why. I wouldn't have as much a problem with the characters. I actually really don't, but I just feel like they're trying to push somewhere that is kind of making you hate the characters even more.
A lot of people are saying now that when they see Ainsley and Angela, they just nope out and they can't take any more of the show. It's just that it's too much. So I don't know. They're getting like it's all over the place. There's some hate coming in from Ainsley and Angela. I happen to think that in a show like this, you need these characters because they're kind of funny. But we have a fulsome recap of what's happened, Cami getting served. And then this week's episode starts with what looks like a lot of fun. Look, it's the Saving Star Trek Landman panel outing. This is what we're going to do when we get everyone together. They're all blasting away with Bushmasters at these feral hogs. And these guys are about the worst shots we have ever seen, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And no, they can't hit these pigs from 30 feet away, and they are blasting away. I was waiting for. I thought the accident. We could tell something bad's going to happen. There's no ominous music. It's just Taylor Sheridan. Things have been going too well for too long. No one's died in yet this season horribly. So, we know it's coming. We've made it to episode 3. So it's like they're driving around. I'm waiting for them to hit a bump and someone in the back seat to kill one of the people in the front seat by mistake. But instead, what happens is. I don't know whether they finally get the hogs or they think they got the hogs, but the hogs go down. And they run up towards the hogs and they're like, these son bitches sure are tough. And the one guy runs up to double tap the hogs or whatever he's going to do. He starts wheezing, choking, waves his arms, and drops to the ground. His buddies run over there to rescue them, and they all fall down from the same way. They choke out a little bit, and then they fall over. It's like Darth Vader's going after him, and that's something that is actually scientifically accurate and goes very well with our theme. And it's a really cool opening shot as we pull up beyond the clouds, and we even see the shadows of the clouds on the ground moving over these hunters who we never even bothered to go back and check in on what happened to them. They're just dead because later on we talk about maybe we need a bigger wrongful death policy. But this is what happens if you don't pay attention. As you can see on the left, there's that sandy area, the lighter colored area. That is a hill. That is a hill. They're in not really so much a valley as in a depression in the land that happens to be upwind from an old, full, apparently, oil silo and a couple of wells that are on the edge of a field of wells. These are the older wells that are apparently not as good. The equipment's busted. They might not work anymore. Some do, some don't. For a minute, you think maybe they're Cooper's wells, but you see the MTech sign, so you know they're not. And after this opening sequence, we're left to wonder, what the hell happened to these people? And we get our usual oil-drenched opening sequence where we play our fairly good song, and it's a little more well-developed than most Taylor Sheridan theme songs. And then what we do is we rejoin Cami, and this is basically where our episode starts, is she is plowed under in her beautiful downtown Fort Worth. What is she? Is there a back room in Monty's office? She's got a mansion downtown as well as a mansion outside of town. I guess this is her downtown apartment. But she's going through everything, and it turns out that Monty's assets and anything he took in, he was very sly about playing the diversification game. He just didn't count on dying at 50. And he left no Grail diary or anything behind for his wife to track down the funds. He totally wasn't counting on dying, even though he was told by his doctor, "Sir, you're dying, sir." So Monty may be a little bit vainglorious here about his life, but this is where we start off. Demi Moore she's really in trouble. She doesn't have any money. And there might be some cash around, but if you don't find it, you might as well not have it. And who knows where Monty has kept it. Anybody want to talk about what we find out with Demi Moore and what I thought was another very strong performance by Demi Moore in this episode? Let's start with Crimlon. Crimlon, what did you think of Demi Moore and her performance this week?
Well, I actually think that was his old office. It looks similar to the one from last season.
It is the office.
So he has a ready room behind his office where he could catch some winks, because sometimes he just works and works.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like his office from the last season.
I thought it was his office. It's just that it's got a bed in there. Maybe it's a fold-out couch.
Probably fold-out couch. I mean, he's rich, so I wouldn't be surprised.
We find out, though, he did not cheat on his wife. And again, it seems like the secret sauce that kept him, at least he died with people around him who cared about him, which is something Landman won't do. And Landboy is not tracking towards. It seems like the one thing that none of the land people have that Monty did have, and he traded a longer life for it, was his wife really loved him and he really loved his wife. They had that going for him, and that's about it.
Yeah, I agree.
He was really resourceful. But the thing that kept him out of trouble and the reason why his company might survive is him and Cami loved each other, so he didn't want to do anything but land her in jail either. So I think there might be a limit onto how nefarious he was. I think he went right up to the edge of the law. We don't know yet, though, how bad Monty was. Germ, what did you think of Demi Moore catching up to this stuff?
She did very well. I didn't think she was capable of this level of acting.
She is This show's Harrison Ford as far as 1923, where we thought the person was done.
Yeah, she's definitely proven that she still has the talent she did like 30 years ago, but
maybe more.
Yeah, overall, doing very well. It progresses the story, a nice little twist about Monty did something to all the money, so it keeps her involved, which is probably for the best, and I like the way they're going with it.
We knew we were going to be chasing money around and stuff like that, and we knew that we were going to find a way to keep Demi more involved, so, good on them there. And by the way, hello to everyone over on the other side with the Green Band broadcast. You can hit like there if you're over there as well. I see a couple of people, but hello to you. Good to see you. And so Demi Moore, she's got her hands full. Monty buried most of the assets. And that's when we catch up to Tommy and Angela. She calls Tommy. He's already headed to Dallas-Fort Worth, which is, I guess, pretty far from Midland, but, commutable, 5-6 hours. Who knows? But, their Midland and the real Midland don't necessarily have anything in common. She gets on the phone with Tommy, says, "Look, you got to come meet me at Monty's office." He's like, "What?" And her exact words are, "To show you how much money we ain't got." And again, this is a convincing voice. She has never spoken and sounded like this in any role before, including military roles where she was allowed to be from anywhere. She maintained a California neutral American accent. Demi Moore is from Roswell, New Mexico. Does anyone think she's just using her real voice, or is this a voice that she's created for the character? It's a different presence for her when she speaks.
It's a voice she created for the character.
I think she did a good job. What do you think of her struggle here to come to terms with what Monty did?
Oh, me?
Radioactive? Yeah, go ahead. It's your turn, sir.
No, I think I agree with what German Criminal is saying. I think, at least Germ said this. I think this was her best performance in the show to date.
And last time we saw her, we were saying this might have been the best performance of her whole career. So Demi Moore maybe establishing new heights and having found a place for her, a dramatic level that she's good with. She was known as box office poison for all those years, from the end of her not having control of her career and In a Few Good Men, which succeeds, to the beginning of her having no control over her career again, where she becomes a co-star again in Charlie's Angels. That part in the middle there, there is no successful movie. There's one notable failure after notable failure after notable failure. G.I. Jane is the gem of these movies because it's just watchable. It made no money, though. What was it? The Juror and Striptease was the fourth and long, like I'll Be Naked if you see my movie. And even that one, it only did all right. It did okay, she's naked money. She can act. She made terrible decisions in her career. I guess if someone threw you the decision what 4 movies you're going to make next, you get to decide, you would take it too. But she didn't know how to judge scripts. She didn't hire someone to judge them for her. She's rich as could be, but this destroyed her viable career. All those dud movies during her 4-movie creation deal, where like other famous people who've been destroyed by picking their own 4 movies would be Alicia Silverstone and what's her name from Legally Blonde? Help me.
What, the one that died of?
No, the one who's still alive. The Legally Blonde chick. Reese Witherspoon. Witherspoon,
okay.
These are the people who have been talked about as they destroyed their careers by picking 4 terrible movies when they were given complete control of their next 4 movies. Because they were so big, that was like they were given like an industry standard deal. So Demi Moore's 4-movie deal, it was just, there's like one watchable one where it's great because she's naked, but the movie sucks. And then there's like 2 terrible duds. Like The Juror with her and Alec Baldwin was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Does anyone remember that terrible movie?
I only remember portions of it. It was that bad.
Right. When she comes back, it's with Charlie's Angels. There's no Demi Moore movies for like 2 years, and then she comes back with Charlie's Angels. And what's funny was they asked her, what's it like to be in a movie with Demi Moore? And the 3 stars were like, we want to make a point here to tell you, everybody, Demi Moore is not really, this isn't a Demi Moore movie so much as a movie with Demi Moore in it. So please come see it. So she was considered like really terrible box office poison. And so coming back here in this format seems to be pretty ideal for her. I'm going to say I agree with my fellow panelists. Very strong performance throughout all of this as she tries to track down her money. And then we get to the next part of our problem. We think this is boys' land, because you can see it's an older looking oil boom. The oil, what do they call the thing that holds it here? It's not tank. A silo. Thank you.
Well, this is the ones that they leased on pennies for $1, isn't it? The one from the random dude that was from Eureka, the actor that's from Eureka.
The guy we only saw once, who's like, Tommy just went to town on him. He's like, shut the fuck up. You raise cattle for no money and make nothing at it. You think you're some kind of better than me person, you piece of garbage. We suck out the oil from your land and keep you rich. You shut the fuck. That guy was an asshole. Yeah, I guess it's somewhere on his land. The deal is the oil tank has been struck by lightning, which I understand is a real thing. And this real series of events happened. The tank became leaky. The well was never so great. We're at the edge of a huge well farm anyway. That's been established. The people who were overpowered by the germ, it's called what? Is it Do you,
The hydrogen
what is
sulfate.
Okay, yeah, it will. And hello to everybody out there. Mr. Angel's here, and we got people showing up. Miss Katonic's here. Hello, Miss Katonic. And hello to everybody. John the Beagle Dad is here. I'm a little late on the hellos, but we wanted to get you pulled into this episode and set the stage before we greeted everybody, and now we has. So, put it in, lock in the channel, tear off the knob, and we'll tell you the rest of this episode. So this is something that Grok agreed with right away. Germ has some expertise, but is not speaking as an expert on this one because we're just TV reviewers. Also, the way this happens is only a little different from what was described as textbook. They, would you agree with this one, Germ? They accelerated how fast it happened for dramatic effect, but not by a lot.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
20%.
It can be very dangerous and very fast, but the way the winds were shifting and whatnot, they took a little bit of liberties with it.
The wind was
Exactly.
shifting so fast that it would have broken up the amount of gas in the wind. It was kind of like it didn't stand to much reason, but it was reasonable enough.
It's accurate enough. Yeah, accurate enough.
It was a lot like people have said when Rebecca and other people do stuff where they it's a silo. Mr. Angel loves my terrible American. What can I tell you? This is a real phenomenon that does happen. When I checked out, I believe it was in 2023, 46 oil workers were killed by the same thing. And we have done a good job of, I thought this was just part of their reality to keep it real looking, but finally these little like Bajoran communicators that they wore that I guess are some sort of sensor, they start beeping because of the presence of the gas, and everybody starts freaking out, and Dale has a meltdown. He keeps it more together than everyone else. The rest of them start absolutely freaking out and almost just giving up on the fact that they have a chance to get away. One guy's trapped on top of the silo. We get very quick, very perfect exposition. It's real thick. It sticks to the ground. And we can tell they're on a slightly higher point than everything else. They've got to run away from the wind and get up to the top where the oil tank is, and on the windward side of this, so that they're getting fresh air. And their buddy who's trapped on top is safe because in the show, the situation is such that the gas is so heavy and the wind is so directly stiff that it's not blowing it up towards him. It is still dropping down like water, but being blown along at the same time. It's a slight plot convenience. The thing is, this is much smarter than most stuff we get any show anywhere. I would have to say Breaking Bad was the last time in a TV show that we went with something fairly realistic, fairly believable, and science related. But this is more science adjacent. Would be a good way of putting it. Anyone?
I think that's fair to say. Different than any other TV show where they exaggerate it significantly.
They didn't exaggerate this. Hydrogen
This wasn't
sulfide,
too exaggerated.
It is not exaggerated at all. Hydrogen sulfide is heavier than air. They actually got all the physics and chemistry in this one right.
Yes. The only thing
But
that
it doesn't hit to the same effect at the amount that they were doing. Is what I'm trying to say.
The only exaggeration is that they get
it does.
Okay.
They got it right.
They seem to have got it right. Let me put it this way: all the research I did and all the stuff that our panel knows, there was nothing about this that was weird. The only thing that I would say is, one, they probably would have smelled a terrible stink of oil and not wanted to be around this area in the first place because there's other things going on
oil.
too.
It wouldn't be oil they would smell. They would smell a rotten egg smell for a bit, but depending
they would
on
smell
its
the other things that were in that
it
oil.
It would overload their olfactory senses.
Right.
And
the hydrogen sulfide itself is odorless, but there's other stuff drifting around in this oil field that probably would have smelled terrible. That's all I'm saying on that one. Like you said,
okay.
Smell,
so Miss Katonic's asking, would hydrogen sulfide react with oxygen? Yeah, it could react with the oxygen, but at the same time, that might explain some of their symptoms that they're showing initially, but
and they're puking, but might be from other stuff that's in the air with that though. They don't say it's this and only this. They're just like, whoa, it's this.
They
Let's get away.
I mean, they didn't go through everything that could be in the air around there. At first, I thought maybe they were getting hit with
I thought that was
methane.
chlorine.
I thought it was no. I would have.
By
thought
the
it was
way, it's
methane, 'cause
heavily
natural
associated with
natural gas is odorless unless you actually adulterate it. So when you have a
yeah,
natural
I thought it
gas
was
leak-
regular natural gas.
Well,
I didn't think there
okay.
was anything special about it. I
Okay,
didn't
so
know about the
hold on.
hydrogen
Let me
sulfide
explain
angle.
it. Let me explain.
Go for
chemistry
it.
to you, Teague. So natural gas in its pure state is completely odorless. When you smell a natural gas leak, like in a home or wherever, it's adulterated with an actual extra chemical so that you can smell it. That's deliberate. for
That I
safety
actually did know.
purposes. Okay, so I thought at first that maybe they got hit with methane, but given the symptoms that they ended up showing, and then they mentioned it's
Hydrogen
H2S, which is
sulfide, right.
hydrogen sulfide, not hydrogen sulfate, which is, as Miskatonic pointed out, that's going to be the ionized form of H2O or H2SO4. So that's the proper chemistry. They got pretty much everything right. In fact,
The
they
only
even
thing
got
I
the
saw-
hazmat protection for it right. And when
I want to
Dale
ask you a
goes,
question
I've got
about that.
and when Dale says, I got a tear in my hazmat suit, what do I do? And they said, oh, you'll be fine for now. They actually got that right. As long as they're not exposed to something, a heavy concentration for a long time, they may actually get out of it alive. But
Dale has a scuba tank.
Well, he's got respirator gear. Yeah, they have respirator gear.
Well, he has self-contained oxygen. The other guys have some sort of respirators.
Yeah,
It
the other
seemed
guys
like-
may not be, the respirators they show the other guys wearing may not actually block anything.
It kind
in
of
this
looked
case.
like they
But-
had stave off death, like respirators, and he had the rescue. Like he was key man. Like he had the gear that was designed to keep one guy awake and alive to call for help and drag people off the ridge. At best, that seemed to be the only logic I could put to it. But very quickly, just to get everybody up to speed, they get to this oil tank and it's been struck by lightning. As you can see, it's scorched. It didn't just blow up, so okay, great, but it's compromised, and we're at the edge of a large oil field. Many of the wells are played out, and fracking has been mentioned as being used a lot. All of that contributes to the conditions that we saw incapacitate the hunters, hello Lombardi, at the beginning, and that we see endangering the members of this oil crew. And later on, their rescue totally makes sense because of the rules that they set up, which match pretty much real life. The only thing, when I fed this through Grok, it was already up to speed on the episode. Apparently, a lot of people asked about it. This is what it said. The only possible, this is according to Grok, not me. The only possible exaggeration was time compression of how fast it happens based on where they were for dramatic purposes, but otherwise lined up almost perfectly. It called it a near textbook perfect presentation of what happens. So, yeah, everyone's in agreement. This not only did it not offend common sense, this went right along with things that have happened in the news, things we've heard about. Here's Dale and the other guys discovering these hunters that are passed out, and they're like, what the shit? And this is when Dale's kind of like, oh man, oh shit. And then like they cut to the trees and we see the leaves starting to move and everybody's alarms go off and Dale's like, fuck, run. And everyone runs back to the trucks. They get there and then they get their various forms of gear. Some guys just have those respirator masks and Dale has like almost a full scuba tank looking thing. His is much different looking. And one guy's trapped up on top of the tank, but ostensibly for the moment safer because we've established the gas that's leaking out, this deadly noxious gas, is extremely heavy, heavier than air. So we leave them in jeopardy and step away in what I thought was a good mixing of drama and action and comedy, because we step into what is ultimately a slow burn to laughs, but laughs with Ariana needs to get a job. Now, I stole her social security number off of the form. I don't know who else did, but where of all places, I got the call right. I said she's going to end up working either as the coffee girl or at the Patch Cafe. And here she is. She gets a job at the Patch Cafe. We think it's waitress, but they make her a bartender. zero experience, with the explanation of there isn't much to do here but pop open beers and pour people shots. Like, it won't be that tough. Barney can walk you through what you need to know. And Barney, I would just say, Barney has become a favorite of this panel. Does anyone want to just talk about how Barney has been in 2 or 3 different episodes already? Absolutely a hilarious foil to Tommy. I don't think anyone is as funny with Tommy as Barney is. Barney, the bartender from the Patch Cafe.
Well, I think we have to say, Teague, that the
Radioactive, we lost you as you were starting the preface. We got the. Did you touch your headset or something? Are you muted?
I think he had a good point. With the. That's usually
some of the best sentences start with the. While Radioactive's getting his comms back online, go ahead, Crimwon. What did you think of Ariana ending up at the Patch Cafe? It made more, aside from the fact that it made sense and the situation that came from it.
I mean, where else is she going to work? It doesn't seem like there's anything else around there. She doesn't really have much of a choice, either that or leave, and she can't leave. Because, as she stated, the babysitter lives across the street, which the babysitter's
That's
her...
the only thing she's got.
Yeah.
Daycare. The
Exactly.
the old abuela who can't speak a goddamn word of English will watch the kid.
Exactly.
So she's got that. But then she uses words like reticent and stuff like that in this conversation. So again, I'm like, how come she can't understand English? How come she says she doesn't have English skills? She fills out the job application, no problem.
Well, just because she can read and do other stuff doesn't mean she's
I think she was just lonely
adequate
and wanted
enough
to
in
see
order
Cooper.
Well, yeah. I know plenty of people that are that have graduated high school and don't have that great of English skills. I mean,
Fair enough.
You catch me on any portion of a day, and my English skills can vary.
You've used that excuse in the show. It's like, I'm not sure where I am even now. Radioactive, are you back online? Do you have comms?
I don't know. You tell me. Can
Yes,
you hear me?
you do. Go ahead and tell us about what the Patch Cafe
all I
and
was going to
Ariana.
say about Barney is that they did a great job making sure he didn't look purple.
You know what? We could have had Selena Gomez in there being like, "Do I know you?" Because she was in Barney. But yeah, I find the Barney character to be funny. They kept on having Barney be funny, but he's a little bit of a. He's not a strict boss, but I guess he was actually shown as a fairly cool boss. He was there for her, and he didn't bust her ass too much on day one. And the show has decided that we're allowed to look at Ariana, and she's being objectified, and I don't think Julia Chavez minds at all. She looks pretty good walking away and coming back, as the sleazy loser in the checkered blazer says to her. And she gets a little pissy and throws a drink in someone's face, but I guess by the middle of her first shift at the Patch Cafe, some drunk scumbag, in the light of day, it's still the middle of the day, pulls out, about $400 or $500 and basically propositions her for sex without saying it in so many words, and she just throws a drink at him and goes, "What do I look like, a fucking hooker, you motherfucker?" And it's pretty awesome, and they have to grab her and hold her back, and then the bouncers drag the guy out, and while she's like, "I don't need this shit, fuck this job," Barney walks over and slaps the guy's $400 in her hand and is like, "Don't worry about it." And she's like, "All right, it'll be fine." I thought the whole Patch Cafe sequence went well.
Yeah, she was assuming she was going to get fired for that, but
this is the first 5 minutes of work of her
Yoda
life
there.
too. Yeah, there was a great line. She's like, he's talking in Star Wars talk. They have believable banter of people who work together. Not her yet, but the other people. There's like another bartender and the Patch Cafe waitress with the red hair who we've met once already, and like they're all fairly cool and down to earth. I basically like all the people who work at the Patch Cafe except Ariana. What about you guys?
well, they have to have a good attitude to deal with essentially a bar full of Tommies every day.
They flip it on us and they show us what it's like to be behind the bar, and people are like, miss, just 2 beers. Hey, where's that alcohol I ordered? Hey, get me my fucking drink. Hey, what's your problem? And like every single person is on like their third ask, and she's like, she hasn't done this before, so she's kind of far behind, but Barney's unflapped. He doesn't give a shit. And he's like, hell, people are still eating breakfast. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just make all the mixed drinks first and get the beer later. And everyone's yelling at her to get her beers, and she's making the mixed drinks. And one of the few people getting a mixed drink is the old guy in the checked jacket. And as we see, these are some of the regulars that don't appreciate her. Here's Barney. There's our boy Barney. And here comes Julia. Ariana. She is overwhelmed. But I would say I like this journey we take with her on her first day to work.
I'm still surprised that she is working. She just got a multi-million-dollar settlement.
It's very forward-looking of her and very independent of her to want to have a job. It means that she doesn't want... Because we talked about this. She won't need a dime for about 10 years, which means she could sit around for up to 3 or 4 without even having to break a sweat, thinking about what she wants to do with her life. But instead, what she does is throws herself into having her first job ever, which arguably is a better move for her as a person anyway than sitting home and brooding. But... I'll go around the panel. The Patch Cafe, amusing, empowering, and a change of direction for Ariana. Let's start with Radioactive, who just went anyway. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, sorry. What did you want me to comment on?
Her first job, her first day.
Oh, her first job. Yeah.
A different direction.
Was she a
little bit
strong woman?
empowering. You know what? I'll let you guys answer that before I talk about that.
You know, the funny thing is, it's kind of surprising that they would actually show her going for a waitress job in this day and age.
That's true. She should have been like, I'm making a move to buy the Patch Cafe.
Yeah, or something like that. That would have been the way they would do it with normal, well, quote unquote, maybe you shouldn't say normal, average modern Hollywood shows. So,
and I want to make something clear. We stand by our A's and Crimlon's B+ for last week. We stand by that because it was still the best new stuff on TV this week and most of this year. It's still an A by 2025 TV standards. It was just probably on this show's level, like it was probably more like a C for this show. But this show has not underperformed to the level of an Ahsoka or some of the other garbage we've reviewed. So, let's go to Germ. Ariana's adventures to the Patch Cafe and throwing the drink in the creepy, 60-year-old douchebag's face. What did you think?
Not too bad. It's a good way to keep her into the story.
And
that guy looks he looks very, very familiar. He's been in...
Yeah, I couldn't get over... he looks like Joe Don Baker a little bit. He looks like Randy Quaid a little bit, but he's not either one of them. I couldn't figure out who he was. They gave him, one of the few jackets that I would wear and still says makes him look like a piece of garbage. It's a little too busy. And what is he, from back east or something? He ain't got his cowboy hat like everyone else. He's like the least westernified person in this bar.
Yeah, but... all in all, it was good to keep her into the story. I don't know where they're going to go with her, but apparently they want her in there for something. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with her.
Mr. Angel's right, by the way. The bouncers were right on this one because she threw the drink in his face. They didn't even wait to figure it out. It was up to Barney, I guess, to basically figure that one out. Crimlon, you talked a little bit about it, but the Patch Cafe, her new job, only business in town except selling coffee in a bikini. I thought that this worked out pretty good. What was your impression of this sequence? About 4 or 5 minutes long. This was not intended as pure comic relief, but this was a lighthearted mixing of drama and light comedy.
No, I agree with Radioactive. But at the same point, if it were me, I probably would have sold coffee in the bikini. It would have been a lot easier job.
You got to get up a lot earlier.
How much money she could be making off tips?
Well, here's the thing. She made $500 on this day, right?
No, that is true. and she got to throw stuff at someone.
Hey, Lombardi. Yeah, we did have a sound issue there for a minute with Radioactive, but I think we got everybody right now perfectly. So, yeah, the Patch Cafe, in my opinion, it was good light comedy, mixing drama and comedy together perfectly. We see how pissed she is. She's had enough of this crap, and she throws a drink in this guy's face. And Barney's just like, here's $500. And she's like, I don't need this shit. And he's like, don't take it. And she's just sort of like, we leave her simply processing this, but she starts to work again. So I thought that it was kind of cool. And, anybody who worked in a bar probably would have appreciated this scene because it showed them in a sympathetic light. And like, kind of was like, don't be a douchebag to your local bartender was maybe the message. Am I right on this one?
I mean, I guess you could take it as that.
Yeah, and then we get with Tommy and Angela, and she is like a goat. As they're driving from Midland to Fort Worth to talk to Cami and actually to look at their new house, Cami calls. While they're doing that, Angela decides she's going to fillet Tommy. She's going to fillet Tommy while they're driving. And she's crass as hell and kind of nasty like she always is. And she's got her face buried down there, and the state trooper pulls up and starts talking to Tommy on the loudspeaker. And these are just the kind of people they are. They're just absolutely trashy. Tommy gets on his, he's got a little loudspeaker on top of his truck too. And at top volume on a public road, they have a conversation like, I'll have my wife stop going down on me, sirs. I'm sorry. And they're like, God, thanks. Jeez. And I guess, he spends all day in this fucking truck. It's his office. I guess he might as well get some there. This bizarre scene with Tommy and Angela, we found out that she's just kind of like the world's biggest asshole.
Kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. Radioactive, you get to react first to Tommy and Angela's bizarre trip to Fort Worth. Was that maybe too crass at that moment?
Well, it was par for the course for Angela.
It really was. Everyone was true to character. I'll give it that. They dialed back on the amount of Ainsley after last week, but Angela is marbled through the whole story. Although for her, she's trying to be nice, so maybe this character's less awful. But I would just ask you guys this. I haven't seen this ever anywhere before. Why are they on the red brick road? Don't they know that leads to Quadling County? What's up with the red road? Is it because in Texas it's so hot if the road is paved black it will bubble up and buckle?
No, they're just using a different type of asphalt there. That's all.
Okay. It looks different and it was very remarkable to me. All right, so in the middle, this is where she decides to start getting frisky with her husband in the truck. And what I thought was messed up was we still haven't gotten this funeral out of the way, and it takes about till now to figure that out. That this funeral is still they've kicked the can for 2 episodes on this funeral that needs to happen. This is the longest midweek ever, and we find out that it's been 7 weeks, 3 days and 6 hours since the end of last season. Tommy is now first going down to Sunrisa Finance, where he and Andy Garcia have a little talk about, what the fuck? And Andy's like, looks like I put one over on you. And he's like, you didn't put one over on me. You put one over on my son who ain't worth no money. And he's acting like that's a way out of this. If you don't have any money and you owe it to Andy Garcia, he puts your nads down your throat and hangs you from the ceiling fan like in Reacher Season 1. Why is he unconcerned about his son's well-being, or has it become obvious here that this is the legitimate part of Andy Garcia's business and he's just playing cat and mouse for fun? I had a hard time figuring out where criminality ends and respectability begins, because Andy Garcia has already murdered someone this season.
Well, he doesn't have any advantage over him, so he's just probing for the most part, because 6 of Cooper's wells already hit. He is basically guaranteed to recoup and make a huge profit off of those 6 alone.
Well, he says that no matter what, Cooper was going to be okay with those crazy strikes that were beyond lucky. But he also says that he gave him super favorable terms, with nothing down, and that he got to make money before he paid everything back, which was unheard of. And the implication would be that he would end up like MTEX with a lot of oil and no way to get it to market. So it sounds like Andy Garcia just wanted the land, wanted part of the business, and saw Cooper's prospectus and dug it. Because he says, Tommy's like, it's just plain old dumb luck, and Andy Garcia seems to have it down. He goes, no, he saw a blind spot in your industry that no one else noticed. This oil just bubbled back up to the top. Like this was seepage on the surface. These wells, if they go down a little deeper, there is more oil. He was right. Everyone else was wrong. Sort of doing a little more than a hand wave at the plot convenience that gives Cooper these oil strikes. And the thing is, we did spend a few minutes with him last season when he was looking at tectonic maps and other things, trying to figure out boom versus busts and strikes that had made it. And it seems like he was the only one who looked at all of it at once and said, oh, wow, the wells that went deeper near the wells that went dry all hit more oil. I think there's several reservoirs at different depths. And also, it turns out that there's so much oil down there that some of it seeped back up to the surface, which can happen, but is rare. So Cooper, basically, he found a blind spot in the industry, as Andy Garcia tells him. And it's not luck. It's that his strategy was that good. So Cooper's a pretty damn good landman, or he figured this out in the patch. So he's going to have his moment, and he's making more money than he should. So the loan is generous and non-predatory to the point that no Sicario would ever write a loan like that. And Tommy's like, I don't like the idea that my son's in business with you. And this is where the mask, to a degree, comes off. But the thing is, underneath his false face is the same face, but with a different expression. He's just like, do you really think that I let those Sicarios just sign those lease deals? We're already in business, and we have been for 3 or 4 years, according to the time frame of the show. So basically had the upper hand the whole time and has been letting things play out and has justified this shit-eating grin. What did you guys think of him as this criminal presence and this new financier on the scene? Cooper's that smart and he was that perceptive. Seems to be the show's disposition. Crimon, what do you think?
That's a good question. I don't give Cooper really all that much credit when it comes to business. I think he did see. I think he did see where, where other people had kind of left off at, but
he was the only one looking at it as a whole, because everyone else was just looking at their own individual lease from their own company perspective. So exactly. Whatever. Monty didn't have to frack and go crazy. He just had to get down to I think we heard the magic number at 17,000 feet last week, right?
I think it was fair. They had to go deeper because everyone else was just going very shallow. I think everyone else had the idea of just
4,000 to 7,000 feet, and they go down 17,000.
So everyone has the idea of basically where to go on a normal basis, and
it's just dawning on most people that going deeper is going to work out.
Exactly.
But Cooper manages to grab a whole bunch of played out wells. The thing is, now the logic does work out for us, right? Because we know that the whole patch is oil rich, and that as technology advances, you can simply get to more of the oil that's in the patch. Let's go to Radioactive. What did you think of his reading of Cooper's plan, and whether or not Cooper's plan should be taken as is it a plot convenience or is it good enough? I thought my film was actually good enough, but go for it, Radioactive. Are you muted?
Hello?
Now I hear you. There you go.
Oh, man, something's going on here.
Your wire might be going out.
Andy Garcia's character?
Andy Garcia's character.
Or
yeah, right. What do you think? Is Cooper that smart that Andy Garcia was able to read the signs on the wall so well that he's like, this plan works, it makes sense, he justified it? But I'm assuming there was a little explanation along with his reason for wanting all the money. It's I have deduced that by looking at this map, which I have provided for you, that I will get the oil out of the ground. And he's like,
Well,
he's right.
I don't think he really cared whether Cooper got oil out of the ground or not, because it's a good cover for his other business initiatives that he's got going on. So he doesn't really. I don't think he needs the oil other than to look like he's legitimate.
He's pretty plain spoken about the fact that he likes the idea that this is going on, though.
Well,
He's
yeah,
like,
because
hey, look how well this worked out. I gave him a
well,
great
it
loan,
works
and
out
wow,
great.
now we're both
So
gonna
he's
get rich
got-
anyway.
he's got a perfect cover now because it is legitimate, and he's making money from that. What better way to wash your other monies than to mix it in and commingle it with the money you're getting from a legitimate source?
He's got so much money coming in, he could just over-report how much money's coming out of the well, and that's it. He's got the money. No big deal. It disappears into a sea of oil being given out to a oil-thirsty world. Okay, Germ, Andy Garcia, yeah, he's got the upper hand. He gave him generous loan terms. What's the story with this strange arrangement?
Well, he's basically winning on three fronts. He gets to clean his drug money. He gets Tommy deeper into his life, which is one of his bigger goals, to expand into the oil market.
Yeah, he kind of
And
needs a
three,
land.
he hits great off of 6 wells in a row. His little scheme to clean his drug money actually turns profitable. So he's actually profitable
It's
and cleaning
super-
money, so it's great.
It super overperforms. Land Boy hits oil 6 of 6 times, but it's not luck. His strategy was just that sound. Crimlon, did you talk about the Andy Garcia exchange yet? Did I get to you? What did you think of his, I've always had the upper hand, and I've always owned a lot of this land line? And his non-predatory loan terms.
I think it was definitely. I think Land. We're just gonna run with Landman at this point. I think he had a good point in there that this was a way to trap his son into getting a predatory loan so that he pretty much could own him.
But the loan's non-predatory. The loan
Unless it failed.
Unless it failed, which it could have failed.
I missed that part. I thought the loan was kind of bulletproof. Then again, Landboy had no problem going 6 for 6 with his crazy logic. So, all right,
Exactly.
Andy Garcia doing some good acting here, showing a different side to this character who the last time we saw him, he was blowing a guy's brains out with a Desert Eagle. Now we're back out at the, here we see the pig hunting truck. And we're looking away from the top of the oil well. And here's Dale in his hazmat suit. Dale is the smartest, coolest, and bravest of everyone. Boss is not far behind. But if you're not as smart and as cool and as brave as Dale, who gets every single thing about this emergency 100% right, because 1% failure, they all die. I thought that this was a great character moment, and this actor that we've watched in 2 different shows now that we all kind of enjoy, who plays Dale, I thought it was a great moment for him to show his quality, and I was like, yeah, Dale, like, you're a fucking hero. Go ahead and show your stuff. You are a total badass. You understand the science of what's going on. You are fucking smarter than everyone else. Like, you're yelling at guys like, don't get yourself killed. Hurry up, get your hazmat gear. Why don't you have it? And he's like pulling his on. He makes the comment about his suit being torn and gets told not to worry about it too much. This guy starts getting freaked out and he says something that shouldn't be true, but lends to what I was talking about earlier. He goes, yo, I can smell it, which I'm thinking the hydrogen sulfide. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it's hydrogen sulfide.
The hydrogen sulfide is scentless, but it stinks up there. We're talking about an oil oil well that's been struck by lightning, and so like it just stinks of petrochemical hell. So whatever, as the bad stuff is getting closer to him, we hear his alarm go off too. Dale, not giving two fucks, throws on his, like, he's got a tank of his own oxygen, so we're assuming he's probably going to be pretty okay. The pig hunters, I figure they're probably dead. And he goes up there, and at this point, a Black Hawk helicopter flies in, and we can see from a very good angle of the camera that on the shoulder of the pilot, it says State Police. So this ain't the military. They have called 911 as they should. Help is on the way in every form that you can help people on a toxic hill where you need a spacesuit to rescue them. However, the gas is so heavy, the helicopter stays up just high enough, it winches him down, and then the only thing I'd say that would be departure from reality is instead of pulling him in and taking off and phoning it in, they land, which risks the wind shifting and knocking out the helicopter crew. But whatever, we have to have a TV show. They land, they have a brief conversation with Dale, get everybody to the hospital, see ya, and they hop in their helicopter, and these guys run for their lives away from the oil tank now that they've rescued their one man. What I thought about this was we found out that the Roughnecks are brave, they are pretty cool, and to move up as a roughneck, you need to be both brave and cool and smart, and most important, put it all together synergistically under the worst pressure. Dale saved everyone's lives. Germ, sir, what did you think of this segment where we got the Roughnecks and their situation?
It's a good highlight for Dale. He's been needing it since the beginning of the show. And this should be a lesson. Listen to your damn safety man.
They were only up there checking on something. They said no one had been up there in a while, and it was only because of a recent lightning strike that they were going to go check it out. But recent could have been like 2 months ago. That MTEX is not on top of things.
Yeah, but that's not. Those aren't MTEX wells. They're investigating in, so MTEX may buy the wells.
There's an MTEX sign out front, and they're in MTEX trucks. So it's because the thing is, I thought they were Land Boys wells for a minute.
No, like I said, these are the ones that were they were investigating from the potential purchase from the Eureka guy that was in the last episode.
Yeah, no, I get that now.
They don't belong to MTEX yet.
They belong to the guy who got taken down by Tommy at the beginning of episode 2. And here we see the rescue.
That's a different guy.
That's a different investor. All right, whatever. Is it the cattleman guy?
This is one of the guys that he traded the Louisiana leases to.
Okay, I got you. And the Louisiana leases may be offshore. We don't know because there is offshore oils coming into this now.
Yeah, this is the one where they got pennies on the dollar, and I'm assuming there's a reason why, and that's probably it.
Well, the reasons we heard were the wells are old, the wellheads are old, the equipment's old, the gauges are busted, the oil tank is old. It's a lightning magnet, and what happens is this is actually a real hazard in America. There are old oil fields where this can happen. It has happened in real life. There have been news stories, and like I said, 46 people is a lot. The oil industry had a lot of money to keep us from not hearing about that 2023 or 4 story that was in the news. So the helicopter, it makes enough sense. They don't defy logic left and right. Here they are. The state troopers are taking off, and they're like, get the hell out of here, sirs. And the only thing I can say that might justify what they did is they have advanced weather knowledge and know the wind is going to keep blowing that way for a good half hour. So they land and tell them run for your lives in that direction, because that's basically what they do. And then they leave. Anybody want to handle this potentially problematic slight convenience in the plot?
I don't see any convenience in it. There's literally only
landing
one
was an unnecessary danger.
They had to get the guys on the chopper. It's unavoidable.
What, did they pick up the other victims or only this guy? There was the 2 guys from the crew, right? The pig hunters are done.
They
pig
picked up
hunters are
everybody
well dead.
except Dale. I'll take that back. They got the other
Boss,
two guys
okay.
were in the truck.
Dale, Boss, and the Guardian guy who was in the
Right.
truck with Boss.
That's right.
Yeah,
my
boss
bad.
has someone to talk to in a truck.
So they loaded like 2 or 3 people onto the chopper.
I wasn't positive on that one, but okay. So basically, we drag a few people to the hospital, and everyone else are like, flee that way, and they're like, you got it. Like, we're happy to flee, and it's what like implied here was they were kind of trapped because it was high ground, and they're like, we better not leave until we have a much better idea of what's going on. And the fact that this thing is leaking means like I don't know what kind of emergency equipment they have, a hyperbaric chamber truck to come up and like rescue people. Who knows? This whole area is set up for oil exploration and its hazards, though. So that would be, as we hit the halfway point of our episode, this is the most exciting thing to happen as we move on and find out, okay, Ainsley still exists. She sort of shows up to show she exists. And then we're back at the MTech's corporate headquarters, where we find out from Rebecca and Nathan that Monty was an amazing businessman who knew how to play multiple LLCs against each other, leveraging the credit of each one to get greater overall credit, shift the debt around, never be in debt, never have to take a real bath, be able to eject some of the debt, bring in more credit. But right now he's at 90% of his credit, and they need money pronto. One account seems to have all the money. There's a parent account that needs to be found, and Monty's ex-lawyer ain't answering the phone. She's having a meltdown. Rebecca and Nathan have it figured out. They work together better than I thought they would here. I never thought Rebecca and Nathan would be able to get along, but a really good synergy. And what I'm getting here is that Monty did not leave them in good shape, but MTech has the people to survive this one. This time I'll throw it to Crimlon to go first. Crimlon, the pandemonium at MTech. What did you think?
Yeah, they got a big mess there. I got a feeling this is kind of similar to what actually happens in the corporate world quite a bit, where they just kind of play hot potato between all their
One key holding guy dies.
Wasn't
Wasn't there a crypto company where that happened? Wasn't there a crypto company where only the owner knew the combo and he like OD'd and died? And there's like 200 million in crypto locked away somewhere that they're still trying to like hack their way into. He's like, don't worry, no one will ever figure it out.
It sounds familiar. I got a feeling that a lot of bigger corporate companies do the exact same thing with the subsidiaries that they buy out. That's the reason why they do it. But I guess it's a good, easy way for them to, play hot potato with their debt in order to continue to pay everyone below them and try to, continue to make, good money.
It's what Enron did. They created shell corporations that if anything went wrong, they threw all the debt into the shell corporation, bankrupted it, and propped up their bigger corporation. And then made a new shell corporation to borrow all the money outright and just cash advance it to themselves and take a money bath like Scrooge McDuck. So anyway, MTech is going to try to get this taken care of. Angela is looking at a house. She calls Tommy while he's in the truck. She's being an asshole. But when she notices that Cami's there, she gets it under control and calms down, shows a little class. And all parties are going to go to the Cattlemen's Club, where they decided that that's the place that Monty's lawyer must be. Cami with a fantastic performance here. We redo the same beat of a lot in this show. Angela and Ainsley at the old folks' home was a beat we had done before in the story, and when we repeated it, we hit the drum harder. We did this beat once in episode 1 where he goes, "This is going to be a real alligator fight. You better let me jump in there first and calm people down." And she's like, "Fuck it, I got this," and walks in there and takes over the meeting anyway. She did it week 1. This week he tries to say, "You better let me go do this. I'm going to get rough." And she's like, "The fuck you think I'm going to be?" And she walks over there and she just throws a drink right in this lawyer's face and tells him, "Screw you. Where's my fucking money? I want to know what's going on." There he is. "Go fuck yourself. You're an asshole. Give me my money." She's foul-mouthed. She's mean. She's insistent. She's tough. It's very, very believable. And this guy, like, he kind of takes it all in stride up until the point that Tommy escalates it in a minute. So up until that point, let's just talk about the initial encounter. Let's talk about Cami's part of this. I don't know if it needed to go any further. Seemed to be like Cami had him right where she wanted him. She was very much in control. Strong moment for Demi Moore. Let's throw the jump ball to Radioactive. How did you like the conflict at the Cattlemen's Club? In the basement of the restaurant. Radioactive, I don't hear you. Okay, I'll watch the private chat. Let me know when you got your comm on.
Did it go out again?
It did go out again, yeah. Okay, now you're back. Okay, so go ahead. I thought Cami was really strong here. What did you think of her moment when she confronts Monty's old lawyer?
Oh, well, yeah.
Why the hell wouldn't he just call her back with this hundreds of millions of dollars in play?
I'm guessing the reason why he didn't call her back is because there's some embezzling going on or something. There's more to this story than we're getting, but at the same time,
if he had 5 more minutes,
that,
maybe he would have been able to pull something. Is what you're saying?
Well, I
a few
don't know.
minutes to pull something off.
Yeah, well, as we find out a little bit later in the scene, I kept thinking while this is going on, they're setting this up so that Andy Garcia's character will do it, and well, we'll find out exactly what happens there. But yeah, I thought this was great.
She was really strong. Do you think that it needed to go any further, or do you think she had him here? I think she had him here. I think Tommy just maybe was flexing in front of the other cattlemen. What do you think?
Yeah, she basically already had him, so to speak, dead to rights. But we still don't know what's really going on with this situation yet completely. I mean, we do know they were playing a shell game with the money, but we don't know like what motivated it. Was Monty just like he was basically just over leveraged and he just got in this trap where he was just shuffling money?
I don't
back
even think it was a trap. He did it on purpose to punch above his weight, counting on the big strike. It was a strategy.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
It was a money leveraging strategy. You know what? It's exactly like what happened with Enron. So I think that's the model for this, and it's going to work until it doesn't. It's really illegal.
They may be based
in real life.
The Enron situation, but
certainly, I think it might be.
Certainly, well, let's put it this way: the whole LLC game they were playing. That's like standard though, because that
a lot of people do that.
Well, that's to limit your liability, so that when one company, even if you're playing it straight, the reason why they set up the LLCs is so that if one part of the business goes under, it doesn't take down everything.
What he had was overlapping LLCs, one for exploration, one for finance, one for drilling and operations, and one with a parent LLC with all the money dispersing it to the other ones.
No, as Nate
I'm
points
sorry,
out.
yeah, the C Corp.
That's the
You're right.
C Corp. That's the umbrella.
So people know LLC means limited liability corporation. This is the basic building block of capitalistic finance. What happens is if you form an LLC and it doesn't work out and you go broke, you don't go to debtor's prison because you've limited your liability and your personal assets are yours within the grounds of repaying any kind of loans that you yourself incur. It's not a license to steal. It limits your liability. Otherwise, no one would ever go into business. So things like these poor pig hunters who die, the limited liability corporation, if the insurance doesn't cover it all, Cami doesn't end up washing dishes until she dies. So we need these in capitalism. So if you don't know what an LLC is, it's very core to the show. They don't even say the full term. It's extremely important that you know what it is, though, to understand Landman. Okay, great. Germ, what did you think? Did Cami have him already, or did Tommy need to escalate?
She had him on the ropes. Tommy just needed that little extra push to scare him into spilling everything. She was about to talk her into coming back for a meeting tomorrow. That's not good for Tommy.
Time seems to be the fifth dimension here, or whatever. He doesn't want to. he doesn't want him to have a lot of time to play around with this money because he doesn't trust him. He wants to see it right now. And, this could go to the Cayman Islands real quick, I guess is what's going through everyone's mind. So I guess, Krimlon, what did you think? Conflict at the Cattlemen's Club.
I think we're completely missing the best part of the scene. Bob
Bonner.
I mean, he's right here in the image.
Bob.
What about
why
Bob?
Why do you think I bought this image up for you, Krimlon? Here is Bonner. Bonner is just, Billy Bob is just so basic. He's like, I don't think I can remember a name like that or pronounce it. I'm gonna call you Bob. Get me a Michelob Ultra. And they're like, we don't serve the hillbilly swill here, sir. He's like, get me the rich man's version of it, and get me a long neck. It seems normal enough. When he brings back the beverage, Tommy takes a sip, looks at it, admires it. We get enough time to register that it is no beer we can recognize, because what he does is then busts the bottle over someone's head, which would ruin any alcohol sponsorship deal. You don't want that in your, alcohol sponsorship deal, but, the beer of drunken fights. So he busts the bottle over this semi-crooked lawyer's head, throws him up against the wall and says, don't fuck with me. We want to know everything. Tell me what I want to know. And it's basically good cop, bad cop. He tells them everything they want to know. They're going to have enough money for a while, is how we leave off. Anyone have anything to add to the confrontation in the Cattlemen's Club before we get to part 2 of the Cattlemen's Club, where an unexpected guest then turns the tables and turns the narrative in a new direction? As we walk out, everybody
really
collides
unexpected,
with... No, I thought we were going to see him. Here it is. Tommy runs into Andy Garcia, his character, and his wife, who it takes a minute. They don't bother with subtitles. It's Taylor Sheridan. She's talking Italian. He's answering in Spanish. And then Angela goes, they're speaking the language of love. And I'm like, what the hell? Because I can't really tell it apart. And then as they unfold their story, she is Italian. He's not Mexican. He's Cuban. He's a Scarface type cartel guy. They kind of level up his dangerousness from like, sicarios are scary and dangerous. So basically now he's like a heavy version of a sicario. They make him a Miami style drug lord, like out of Scarface. And, we've seen Taylor Sheridan do this before, like he did where he basically gave the story of There Will Be Blood to the Timothy Dalton character in 1923. He basically was just acting out what that guy was. It depends on our knowledge of other movies, but they're common movies and these are common characters. So he's basically now revealed to be the most suave and well-spoken drug lord, and he's got a few charming things to say. He's smoking the finest cigars, he's drinking the finest bourbon, he's giving the finest wine and champagne to the ladies. He's also able to go toe-for-toe talking the machismo bullshit with Tommy. His wife is gushing about him. Cami finds him charming. Allie Larder, who can tell? She's so crass and profane and weird and crazy. All we know is that she's just really taken with Andy Garcia's wife, and they spend as basically as much time as they feel like hanging out and drinking. It seems like it's 5 or 6 hours. And Tommy's like, hell, when's this place closed? And he's like, whenever I tell them to. So he's like a key holder of this club, which they've pointed out is a private club below an actual restaurant that doesn't have the same rules as the rest of the world. This long and powerful scene shows all of our characters interacting. And the one thing that kind of doesn't get said here is the one person whose job involves killing people on a regular basis and then having lunch is Andy Garcia. And they're all talking to him like he's, a normal and refined, highly educated. Basically, he's the most interesting man in the world, right? It's like, I don't always sell cocaine, right? And he's just charming and urbane, and they have a great time talking to him, including Cami. He's got them all eating out of his hand. Even Tommy has to soften his stance, and it's like, basically, I guess the agreement that him and Tommy come to after they sort of circle each other a little bit, saying a couple of slightly slightly barbed things. It's like, what difference does it make if the loan would have been ugly if it didn't work out? It's still working out awesome, and there's no way for it to flip back against Cooper. He would have to screw something up at this point, and Tommy's just basically like, all right. And they enjoy each other's company and hang out. This was a strange inversion and a different kind of reality. This is their world, though, and these are the kind of people we can expect them to run into. It didn't strain credulity, but boy, is the encounter at the Cattlemen's Club weird after the confrontation. So let's talk about the encounter with Andy Garcia and his wife. Like King Sicario, Scarface, and his wife, and they live a highfalutin private life between several private houses, and they continent hop in their Gulfstream. It was a wild lifestyle flex story that the wife just drops like it's nothing. And they're just, again, these are kind of horrible people. Even Cami's not too shocked by this. Jump ball. Who has passion to tell me how they felt about this wild scene?
I wouldn't say they're all horrible people. They're just...
One's a Sicario who
This is
deals
the situation.
drugs. One is definitely a horrible person. The other is Tommy. The other is Angela. Who has a case to not be horrible? Cami and this guy's wife, Bella?
I would say so. Cami isn't overtly horrible. He just has to do horrible things, and he's just starting to realize that he's more like the Sicario than he wanted to believe.
And he has say mean shit OCD. He has to say mean shit. Every mean thing that comes to mind, he has to say it. Am I right?
I think he holds his tongue quite a lot, especially with the wife.
Yes, but he does have mean thing OCD where a lot of times he just has to say mean shit. He's minimalistic, which minimizes the damage, but he goes there on everything that he probably shouldn't bring up.
No, he's
For
the type of
instance,
guy that, and then the type of work that it has to be brought up.
At the end of this encounter, he needlessly puts the compliment to Andy Garcia's wife in an awkward manner by saying, "I really liked your wife," and Cami's like, kind of like bats an eye, and Angela's like, "Fuck you, you motherfucker, piece of shit," and starts in her crazy ranting, and he's like, "Can we have a fight in the car instead?" And she's like, "Okay," which is the most reasonable thing she's ever done. And him and Andy Garcia sort of bid each other like, all right, we're going to see where this goes. It's not quite exactly like I thought it was. Landman now rethinking his relationship with this character, and everyone goes off on their merry way to continue their adventures. I thought it was a good scene, and I don't know what else to say about it. Fairly well covered. Anyone got any final opinions about what happens at the Cattlemen's Club? Because now our day is pretty much over. This is one insane day in Landman's life, by the way. It's called Almost a Home, this episode.
It's good to see Andy Garcia getting some nice serious acting, and him and Billy Bob play very well against each other.
They were really good, yeah. You know what? You're right. Again, these are two people who are ostensibly pretty horrible. Tommy's not as horrible as Andy Garcia, but they're not good people. And damn it, it's like hard to take our eyes off of them. And the only thing that makes Allie Larder a standout bad person is that she's so loud and crass and vocal about how horrible she is. Do they need to tone her and Ainsley down? Are they toxic?
No, they're fine as they are. They're not going to be in it too much.
I think Ainsley, the wife, we've pretty much accepted her that way, but the daughter at some point.
She needs a moment where she's a little less of a terrible human being.
I think they tried it right here, where
she had a couple of moments where she wasn't too mean.
Well, I think what her friend tried to offer some alcohol and she decided not to. I think I almost feel like they're trying to turn the corner with her slightly, but
well, that tracks. She's not drinking because she's in training, and only Angela can make her do anything that's against her outlook of being she's going to try to be a really good cheerleader, and they're backing up the walk-on recommendation for cheerleading by showing like she has not stopped practicing since she made that squad. So it's supposed to be kind of it's a joke and a riff, and it drives Nathan crazy. But it does like prove that her character is dedicated and wants to be a good cheerleader. As simple as she is, she believes that crazy stuff about cheerleading uniting the world that we got a couple of weeks ago.
Well, she at least believes that it's going to get her a quarterback.
She is sure
And
it's
an
gonna get her a
MRS
quarterback.
degree.
Exactly. Well, she doesn't know the difference between philanthropy and philosophy. I guess she gets her moment here. It's nice. It doesn't last too long. She manages not to express contempt for anyone. And this is where Dale comes home and shows that he has a healthy relationship with alcohol. He pops open, chugs one beer, has a brief conversation with Nathan about what went on. Nathan seems to be up to speed in the incident already. He brings he brings Dale up to speed, but not in great detail about like, yep, we got to move money around until we find it over in, Dallas, Fort Worth. He's like, well, time to go to bed and do it all again tomorrow. And the one thing that we get here is Dale says, I have cheated death out here in these fields in this patch outside this town for a bunch of years. But today was like, it never came this close. I thought I was going to die. And I thought it was good acting by, an old favorite to us. This character's been with us, in 1883 and again in this show's first season. So I have great goodwill towards the character who plays Dale. Anyone want to talk about these two peripheral characters whose role sort of grew this week?
Yeah, they don't get enough credit in the show.
They were very humanizing and very enjoyable this week. I enjoyed both of them. When they were on camera, they didn't steal scenes, but they were like really stirring the drink the right way is the best way to put it, isn't it? They were absolutely perfect in their scenes. And together, wow. Good synergy. Crimlon, what did you think of the Dale's like haunted by almost dying and seeing people almost die? Look at his face. He did some good acting here. I was impressed by this scene.
Yeah, I think they need to give him a little bit more. He's almost been a ghost this entire season. We're 4 episodes in?
Well, he got about a quarter of this episode.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we saw him that much at all the first few episodes.
No, we only saw him at dinner laughing and silently drinking and assenting. He didn't have too many lines. He was like, his lines were like joining the group in laughter and stuff like that, and also running away from Angela. He may have said, he may have yelled, "Oh shit," when he ran away from Angela, but that was about it. But good acting from our pal Dale here. This character is just, I don't know how else to put it except that this character has always played people who have been compelling. As Cookie, he was an interesting dick. In this, he's an interesting, nice guy, showing range. And, I believe that he could pull off the technical and geological stuff that he needs to know to be a good crew chief for this operation and to be in charge of all rigging. I thought this was a powerful scene between two real good character actors, really in their element, showing us all they had. And anyone want to just quick thoughts on Dale and Nathan? Radioactive, you got anything on this one?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All I can say is like I think Cone Pior deserves a better billing than just being put down as whatever guest appearance on the show or something.
He gets featured guest top billing at the end of the episode rather than being in the opening credits like he was last season.
Yeah,
but the thing is, he's got more screen time this year. Already, screen time from last year.
We're
Him
only
and
3
Dale are
episodes
already
in,
tied
so.
or better than what we got from them all last season.
Yeah, well, they
A lot of
deserve
times
better-
when we saw Nathan, all he
credit.
was doing was breathing heavily and blinking in disbelief as Ainsley walked around almost naked, and he's just like,
Well, he still got in a
okay.
look this episode. He still was able to sneak in a look.
They love Colin Fiore. The people who make the show love Colin Fiore. They're like, Colin, we didn't have a lot for you to do in this episode, so what we did is we got Michelle almost completely naked, and you're gonna have a scene with her again. He's like, well, I guess I can do that. if you gotta be upstage, that's the way to do it. Germ, any final words on Dale and Nathan? I feel like MTech is run by the right people. Monty knew who to hire. sir?
Yeah, that all falling into place. Looking forward to where it's going.
We end up at the Cattlemen's Club where the very long conversation between all these parties ends. They all go their separate ways. Everyone's charmed by Andy Garcia, who even has Landman rethinking whether or not maybe I'm on the legitimate side of this business with him. Maybe he doesn't throw me into a wood chipper, which is probably a very stupid fucking mistake, but he's thinking it. And we leave off like that. We've talked about the dynamic here. Then Angela shows maybe the only warmth that she ever has had so far in this entire series when Tommy offhandedly talking about a bunch of other generalities, including this funeral that hopefully we'll finally get through next week, mentions, it's like, well, you are my wife. She gets a little teary-eyed and goes, what's the matter, honey? And she goes, you called me your wife. He goes, well, I guess you kind of are again. And she spins that into, so I guess you're proposing? And he's like, oh, boy, I guess I am. And then she does the same thing that we started out with. We end where we begin. She's going to try to fillet him on the open road going through the middle of Texas. And he's kind of a good old boy. And he's kind of a good old boy. And he doesn't mind. And we end the episode with, oh, baby, take it easy. It's a popsicle, not a snow cone. And these are the kind of crass people that we are dealing with. In this episode, we see Cooper for 1 minute. He's on the phone, and Tommy just tells him, stop everything you're doing right now. I don't know whether that's because he thinks there's gas everywhere or because he's just pissed scared of Andy Garcia, or both. It's hard to say. It's hard to say why he's got this outlook, but he wants him to stop drilling right now, and his son Risa are related. Because at the end of the episode, he seems to feel differently about San Risa. The major occurrences in this episode are Tommy and Angela will probably get married again. Tommy and Angela act like high school students still. Cooper, he's capable of chilling his jets and not being a pain in the ass when he's told to stop drilling. He trusts the old man. Ainsley minimized out of this story after 2 weeks where she was just maybe went a little bit too far in a few places, especially last week as far as being, it was funny, but maybe a little too much. Rebecca back in the story. Seems like we had bitch control on her this week. She was nowhere near as acerbic or mean as she has been in the past, and she was okay to Nathan this time. And basically the story didn't bother checking in more than for a few minutes with Ariana, who's going to start a life for herself, sort of ambitiously at the Patch Cafe. I guess what we have to say here is she's going to hold on to that large reserve of money and not burn it off by working now and covering her expenses as she goes so that maybe she stays wealthy instead of just taking 10 years off. So all characters moving forward and showing a degree of agency and all in the right proportions. I forget who we don't check in with this week, but there is a couple of characters that we don't even check in with. We don't have to check in with every party every week because we have a lot of characters now. It's basically about every 70 minutes someone will show up. So like 1.5 episodes. Tommy's always basically at the center of all this. Dale got to be the point of view character for a while there. And we started out with a crazy mystery that pays off by the middle of the show. This was, to me, a good episode, but I'll let my panel and our audience have their say. Let's start with the great Radioactive. Radioactive, my friend, what did you think of this week's episode, Almost a Home?
I'm going to give this episode an A. Much better than last week.
Okay.
Even though I gave that one an A-, but that was because
the thing is, in context, in all TV shown last week, how is it not an A-? You know what I mean? Like so many shows.
Well, yeah,
absolutely terrible.
Well, if we compare it to like Kurtzman Soy Track, I mean, it's like
it wasn't the greatest Taylor Sheridan we've seen. Would be the way to say it, right? But the second or third worst Taylor Sheridan episode on its own. It was as bad as It was as bad as some of the stuff that we got in 1923 when we spent way too much time with what's her name, Crimlon's favorite character, Alex.
Well, it's still better than I think a lot of what we saw in Yellowstone, at least the stuff that I looked at. But
Right.
no, this is definitely better than last week. Last week it was, for me, it was that one side storyline was too distracting, and I didn't think it was going anywhere. But we covered that already, so.
Right. And they're going to start acting a little less ridiculous now because I think Ainsley will be at school. They'll all be living at that mansion in Dallas Fort Worth. Landman will be there. Land Boy will be in Midland. And we'll see what happens with Ariana. And maybe we'll finally have this funeral. The party we didn't see this week was Sam Elliott. Now, I know that every time he's in an episode, the person who seems to have the strongest connection and enjoy his performance the most is always Resolute Germ. So the person that I want to have go talk about this one is, I didn't feel that we really missed having Sam Elliott in this world that we've set up pretty completely. It feels like he's going to come in from time to time to make this show that much better. So although I didn't miss him, he wasn't in this episode. Your thoughts on his presence or lack thereof in this episode and what he's brought to this show so far, 3 episodes in. Go ahead.
But we really didn't miss him in this episode. Everyone else carried the weight very well. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of him, especially after they get to that funeral.
That might be his big moment, right? The funeral might be his big moment.
He may or may not end up passing by the end of this season.
Yeah,
I haven't really figured that part
right.
out yet.
And I don't think it now seems to have been a canard that he's going to do anything to help out Cami's oil company. He has no money and he can't go out there and yell at people. He's a wreck. He cries at sunset. That's all he can do. All right. So I'll let you be the one who takes care of the Sam Elliott stuff as we hit just about the limit on Landman. And I will go with my panel and have everyone give it a grade, starting with Radioactive. I think you sort of tipped your hat, but Landman Season 2, Episode 3, Almost a Home. What did you think, A through F? What was your grade?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was an A, as I said before. I think this episode's an A.
No problem. Just wanted to get on record cleanly. Germ,
Copy.
Your opinion, Almost a Home, Episode 3, Season 2. What was your A through F grade on this one?
No, I agree with Radioactive. It's definitely an A. Better than last week's episode. Very strong in pretty much all regards. So, yeah, solid A.
Okay. Crimlon, what did you think, A through F, on Almost a Home?
I'd say it's an A. I think it's a severe improvement over last week's stuff. I think with the stuff that we talked about in the beginning, really dipped it off for me on that.
Yeah.
That's why I put it at a B plus. I think that the plot line went really well.
I'm not going to back
complaints.
off. Yeah, okay. So you're giving it an A. I'm not going to back off my grade from last week. I stand by it. But I will say contextually, it was pretty bad as far as the world of Taylor Sheridan shows, where it's very high-quality TV. They probably tried a little too hard with that joke. But I also think that this was just an even A. And I stand by last week's grade, but maybe it should have been an A minus. I'm not going to nail it every time. You do enough predictions and reviews, you'll get a few wrong. But as I look at our grades now from our audience, vote now, forever hold your peace. Currently, A is in first place with 60%. Another 30% thought it was a B. C was at 10%. No one gave it a failing grade as we close the poll in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. It's over with. Thank you to everyone for being part of our show. And I am looking forward to next week. Anyone got any predictions? And is there a high and low for this week anyone wants to jump in there with? I would just say my high might be State Troopers telling Tommy to act like a fucking adult. It was pretty funny. And I don't know if there was a low this week. It was a pretty good episode.
I would give the low to Andy Garcia's outburst in the office. I would have liked to see him keep his cool the entire time.
That is possibly going to maybe tie their hands just a little bit down the road. So you might in fact be right. This episode of Landman brought to you by Admiral Teague's panel, and we thank you all for being here. It has been a fun time. We tried a little experiment this week where we had the vertical feed at the same time as this feed. It was different, to say the least, and we'll find out how this one goes in the future. Also over on Bumble, I thank all of you for watching over there. And the panel will be back later in the week, probably Thursday. Tuesday, looking up in the air for me. Germ, what's going on over at your channel in Germland?
Well,
In
tomorrow
Germany.
we'll have the 80s classic Critters on Monday Monster Movie tomorrow.
I
at
love
6
that
p.m.
movie. Oh, I can't wait
First
to
and
be there.
second. You
Cool.
gonna watch the second and third one?
We'll see how the first one goes, but probably we'll get to at least the second one.
Great.
The second one is the best of all of them that they actually made.
Thank you, buddy, for putting that up there, and thank you, buddy, for being the mod tonight and helping us out with the show. Looks like Landman did some bang-up business again. What can I tell you? Taylor Sheridan, very popular, very controversial. Very, very controversial. We'll be back next week with the next Landman. It's funny, like, between Star Trek and Landman, I work a lot from Friday to Sunday. What can I tell you?
Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Yeah, but, you know...
Sure. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Exactly. Thank you so much for watching our show. Tuesday, don't know. Maybe I'll be around. Don't know. Thursday, going to try to be here. Friday, it's a lock. We'll see who's around to co-host with me. Thank you for being a part of Landman Live. We love you all. And you know what? I think that on our way out the door, you have earned yourself Sydney Sweeney. You know her. You love her. Here she is. Later, guys. Bye.